It's back. Hat check, sunglasses check, Pepsi check, notes check, sources check. Let's go. Welcome back to Gold and Blued, everybody, and all we do here is college football. So if you're a college football fan, go ahead and hit the like and subscribe button. And as always, feel free to send gear to represent you and your team. Look around. That's what my background is made of. So if you want to be a permanent part of Gold and Blued and my background, send gear to represent yourself and your team to P.O. Box 360, Liberty, South Carolina 29657. Not to worry, guys. I know y'all see the setup behind me, and you don't see the pinwheel of penance. It will be back. I'm just hanging them up until this is fully completed. This is just phase one of my mini helmet setup. So relax. If you love the pinwheel of penance, I promise you it will be back. Watching this ending to the Alabama Texas A&M game, there is 3 seconds left. It was incomplete. Well, it was actually intercepted, but there was a flag on Alabama. So Texas A&M is going to get one more shot. This is a crazy game, guys. Nobody expected Texas A&M to even be in this position. Everybody expected Alabama to blow them out. Who is Texas A&M? I can't figure these guys out. They get beat by Appalachian State at home. This doesn't make any sense. And then they went on the road last week and got absolutely smashed by Mississippi State. This is okay. So A&M has the ball on there too because the penalty happened in the end zone. So Nick Saban is calling a timeout. My gosh. Right now the score is 24-20. Alabama does have the lead. I'm a loss for words. I'm at a loss for words, guys. Here's the thing. This year, nobody has separated themselves as far as being the team, the unbeatable team. Who's going to challenge the team? In 2018, we had Clemson. In 2019, we had LSU. In 2020, we had Alabama. In 2021, we had Georgia. And at the beginning of the year, it looked like Georgia, but Georgia hasn't looked great. They didn't look good against Kent State, and they definitely didn't look good against Missouri. They almost lost that football game. They did much better today against Auburn, but still shaky, not dependable. And even Alabama, they reclaimed the #1 ranking, and now, Texas A&M, they have a lot of talent, but they're not any good. All right, last play, 3 seconds left. Let's see. He's in the shotgun. He's going to take the snap. Going back. He is going to throw. It's going to be no good. No good. Alabama does survive. But wow. Nick Saban did not get to hang 60 on Jimbo like he thought he was going to. A win is a win, but this rivalry keeps getting heated up. And is Jimbo a good coach or a bad coach? I think he's a bad coach, but he just hung in there with Alabama, so I'm totally confused. Every team that has been considered a playoff team has had a bad game this year. Georgia has had a couple of bad games. One against Kent State, the other against Missouri. Ohio State was shaky against Notre Dame at the beginning of the year. Clemson just about got beat by Wake Forest, and I'm not saying Wake Forest isn't a good team, but if you're going to be a national championship contender, you have to squash teams like that. Even the first game against Georgia Tech, yes, they blew them out, but not until the fourth quarter. So, and then there's Tennessee. They've been good for the most part, but they had a down game against Florida. Come on, and then Ole Miss. They've had a couple of bad down games. UCLA, they're undefeated, so they could be considered for the playoffs, but they had a bad game against South Alabama. Michigan has had a couple of iffy games. I don't know, guys. TCU has looked pretty good, but the best team that they've played so far is Kansas, and Kansas is a good team. That was a good road win by TCU, not trying to stifle that by any means. Could TCU be the best team in the nation? This is what my brain is thinking right now. It's absolutely nuts. I have no idea who the best team in the nation is right now. No clue, guys. Absolutely no clue. Oklahoma State, they've done pretty well, but they've had a couple of games that you were like, you should have squashed that team. You let them in the game way too long. So maybe Oklahoma State is in the conversation. I don't know anymore. I absolutely do not know. But I will say this. I do think that Tennessee does have a chance to win the SEC East this year. I really, really do. I think they have an excellent chance. That they played well on the road against LSU. I know they had a bad game against Florida, but Georgia has had some off games. This is going to be in Tennessee. This is going to be a good game. This is going to be a big game. Tennessee can most certainly challenge Georgia for the SEC East. So I'm going to be very interested in watching that game as well. And then there's USC. Has USC had a bad game? So I can't think of it. If they have, I can't think of it. So at the end of this video, if you know the bad game that USC has had, please let me know, because I'm trying to rack my brain right now, and I can't do it. I can't think of the bad game. They haven't had a bad game so far. Last time I checked, there was a good game between them and Washington State, so maybe that's the game. I don't know, because I haven't looked at the score recently. I've been watching this Alabama game, so I'll have to check that out. And that could be the game. And if they get upset, then they're definitely out of the conversation for now. I don't know if anybody's going to finish undefeated. I really don't. I don't know. And if there is somebody that finishes undefeated, who would be your guess? Would it be Alabama, who just struggled against Texas A&M, and they've struggled earlier in this season? They've had a few great games, but they've had struggle games. Is it Georgia? Is Georgia going to go undefeated? They had a bad game against Kent State, Missouri. Is it going to be Oklahoma State? They played some decent games, but they've also had some off games, and they're really about to get into the meat of their Big 12 schedule as well. Is it Michigan? Michigan really hasn't played anybody. Who is Michigan? Ohio State. That first game against Notre Dame, that was a little bit of a rough game. Clemson. Is Clemson back this year? Is Clemson going to go undefeated? I don't know. TCU just survived Kansas in the battle of unbeatens. Is it going to be TCU? Ole Miss hanging in there, undefeated. USC, like I said, haven't looked at the Washington State score. Maybe they're already beat. I don't know. UCLA beating Utah today told me a lot about UCLA. And I've been telling everybody since the beginning of the season, and I got laughed at because I had UCLA ranked in my top 20 to start the season. Top 20. What are you thinking, Golden Blooder? I'm like, well, they got most of their skill position players back. Yeah, but they got decimated on the line of scrimmage. That's true, but how does Chip Kelly win football games with this skill position? And then he just tries to put out the best lineup as far as defensive line and offensive line, and he out-coached Utah today. Chip Kelly is a good coach. I know he gets a lot of knocks. People completely forget that they went 8-4 last year. That's a good year. So this was another year to build upon that. I think UCLA is guaranteed to have a 10-win season. I think that's happening no matter what. Could they win the Pac-12? Could they get to the playoffs? Could they go undefeated? Today was a big step towards doing so. And yes, they do have to play USC later on the season, but that's also a home game. Now, having said that, probably at least half the crowd will be USC fans as well. So that's not going to make that much of a difference. But at least it's not in the Coliseum, where that would be a true home game for USC. I'm telling you, don't overlook UCLA. They have some great players on their teams. So let me know in the comments section. Number one, does anybody go undefeated? Anybody. Anybody. And if you do think that somebody goes undefeated, let me know who you think goes undefeated. It can be 1 team, 2 teams, 3 teams, 5 teams. I don't care. Let me know, because I have absolutely no idea. If there is a team out there that's going to go undefeated, it's going to surprise me, because anybody could be the guess. It could be anybody. Everybody's had a bad game. Everybody's looked good at times, and everybody's looked bad at times. Could be anybody. So give me your guesses in the comments section. That's all I got for this show. Like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you on my next show.